Welcome back to the Misadventures of Mr. Fish. I'm Mr. Fish. Hey. We're in a little bit of a different area. Joy of being a stay-at-home dad, family, and doing this after hours and whatnot. I don't really have a dedicated filming space, so who knows, and throughout this adventures together, you might see me pop up in all sorts of random places to do a little filming. But the reason why I'm here today is that I wanted to give everybody an update on what I've been doing with my MDF Ork City. So, been cruising through it. As you can tell, it's been a couple days. I don't know exactly how often I'm going to be uploading it, but I was hoping at least to get it once or twice a week. Now, with my MDF, I kind of put a lot of my other projects on hold because I wanted to get through this city as fast as possible. But I made both a smart decision and a bad mistake, in my opinion. And that was that originally I was going to do like one small kit, and I was going to jump into a big kit, and I was going to kind of go back and forth between them and see, so I could see how hard it was going to get and whatnot. Once I got the first ones done, which you guys saw, which was the Watchtower, which I actually have them all sitting here next to me right now, so that way I can kind of re-showcase, what I've done already compared to what we did. So, like, our first little guy, it's our little Cheeseburger Tower. I say Cheeseburger Tower just because, it's an orc face, but it's a cheeseburger. So, this was our first piece. And then we got excited, as you know, and we did our little grub hub, which technically this piece glues to the top of it, and we just left it modular, just so that way if we want to, we can put it down wherever and stuff like that. And then that one came with a nice little grog tower, cute little can. But so with this, so far that's only 3 sheets. Now after that, we kind of got a little more excited. So we're like, okay, let's cruise through the little guys. Let's get all the little guys done. That way we can kind of see what we're doing. Because like I said, this is for Kill Team. So I'm telling myself, Fish, did you bite off more than you can chew? Answer so far is still no. Even though I gave myself a huge headache in one of these, I'm still loving them. They are absolutely stunning. I absolutely would recommend them. Even the one that really drove me nuts, I would recommend all of them. I just know it's going to be definitely bigger than a Kill Team board. So, with that, then we started jumping up. So the next one, I was like, okay, how much bigger does this get? And then, so we did, there's the Watchtower, and then we had the Lookout Tower. So, and I'll put up just like the quick image of what the kit kind of looks like from the picture on the cover. But I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool, especially since with the big flat top like it is, it has that big open space, so you can super elevate. I love the fact that they know that people are sticklers for climbability, so they have the ladders more or less built into it, so that way you have those nice little areas. And then again, lots of different types of greebles and stuff like that. So like this was just a random skull, and this was just random dags, for teeth. And so I put them together so I can get that nice, orky face. So and like I said, the thing I love this. This is so sick. So they include these gray boards, and with the gray boards, you get these nice little kind of cardstock details. Downside, some of the smaller kits come with the same things. So I told myself, okay, Fish, what are you going to do about that? So I kind of mix and match a little bit, and then I've also been saving the extras on the side that I haven't used, so that way when I go back and redo some work on some ramshackle barn kind of structures that I built, I can tie them into these as well. But this is actually one of the small ones. This one, I believe, was only 3 sheets, 4 if you count the gray card, but definitely love it because, like I said, lots of playability and whatnot. Actually, you know what? let me grab a boy so you can see. I'll be right back. All right, went and grabbed some of the boys just to kind of show how they would be here and stuff, you know, size comparison wise. And it's looking good. I mean, you know, you compare this to that, so we're already getting up there in scale. And so I was pretty surprised because, like I said, this is actually the smaller of the larger kits. So I was like, oh man, what are we doing to ourselves here? We might have gotten a little bit too big for our britches. So the next one I built out to that. I believe it was either the Mech Shop or the Barracks. Both were, I believe, four-piece kits. But the Barracks was actually pretty cool. The top piece here, actually, you could have left it loose. I glued it on because, as you can tell by the top of this, there's a lot of detail work that they etched in with their lasers. And so I wanted to kind of take advantage of how cool that looked. And with this piece, technically this whole section, they don't have it laser etched. It's just blank. So that way you kind of know where to put it and you're not losing detail, because why waste, you know, drawing on it. That being said, though, you could easily put little greeblies on this as well. That gray card, I actually, some of the things that are laser etched, they can actually like duplicate the shapes in a few different places. And so one of the things is, so there's this big guy, which you'll recognize from the side of the grub hub, and it was laser etched. You can kind of see it there in a 3D way, and I was like, screw it, they're orcs, like they totally would put that on there. And you know, some of the things get kind of copied over multiple times, because, you know, you can tell the creators of these wanted to just kind of keep it simple orky. I don't think they actually anticipated somebody like myself just going through and literally buying one of everything. But, you know, it does the same, you know, kind of thing. Great open spaces on it. You can take in the tower. I left it kind of open here in the center so that it's kind of flat-ish in a way, so you could take and definitely, you know, put guys on it and then move it up and have the same, you know, kind of series of events and stuff. And what's really nice is that it is a big enough playing surface so that if, say, for instance, you know, you do play big 40K and stuff like that, I mean, it's, you can still fit a dread on it. So, I mean, it's an Ork Barracks, got Sentinel, you know, going to take out the Umis. But yeah, so I was pretty excited about this one. Pardon me. Also, these little things on the front, there's not actually little tabs for them. These were the first pieces that didn't really have tabs that I had to glue on. So I was pretty dang impressed with myself that I actually got them to stay in place. I was kind of explaining Easter eggs to my daughter, and I was like, yeah, I do think it's kind of funny. I think technically this is the front door because this is an outhouse, so that must be the back door. And so that was pretty funny. Speaking of daughter, and she wanted to know what Dad was doing. So, anyways, back to business. So, anyway, that was pretty cool. Another one that was about similarly complicated. This is the first one I actually had issues with, and that is the Mech Shop. This is savage. The directions aren't 100% clear on it. Technically, if I wanted to, I could have left this tower with the leaning doors on it and this tool bench loose, because it also just glued to the side of it. It was the first piece that I actually chose to use super glue on instead of just PVA, just because I liked how rotund it made this piece, because it is one of those things that you still hand play up on those surfaces. You can get down into these, you know, so it's kind of neat. But lots of it are tabs. The saw, super sick, love it. But as you can tell with those laser etchings, that's actually sharp. I had to take a towel and wrap the saw blades up with the towel and push down on it to get it to lock in place, because otherwise I would stab myself literally. Blood for the blood god. But yeah, and as you can tell with this one didn't actually come with a gray card, which was rather surprising, but it came with so many of these little wooden greebles that I just love it. Only downside to this one, other than that, was the instructions. This cool little conveyor belt that's inside there. In the diagram, it shows this is one panel, and technically it's a bunch of little panels, but that's just me being nitpicky. But yeah, I was like, this one's really cool, especially the way it kind of blends with them. It was also darkwood, so it makes me think maybe this is a newer kit compared to some of the other ones. But they got stupid big from this point forward. That was the last of the 4 kits. I'm pretty sure the next 2 were 6 kits. One, I'd have to double check on exactly what it's called, but it's basically like a landing pad. Hold on, let me grab something. Alright, I went and grabbed my little sheets because I've been saving them all just so I can keep track of them. And I'm glad I did, because I lied. Mech Shop does have gray boards, so I just saved them aside for other stuff because it was like, it has so many details. I was like, why do I need to put these extra ones on there? They're basically the same thing. So, flip that. The next one was the first one that didn't have a gray board on it. It actually says 0 gray boards on it. That's important because some of them actually factor in the gray board as one of the sheets. Not many of them. Actually, I think now that I think about it, I think the Mech Shop was the case. No, it says a gray board on it. Which one was it? It was the barracks. The barracks was, I think, 3 sheets and then a gray board. But I digress. That's not important. It's cool because they are similar. Now, this is the first one. The next one, that was 6 sheets, and it didn't have a gray board with it, but it was the Ork Fortress, and I was like, how much bigger is it going to be? I mean, it's got Fortress in its name, right? It's way bigger. To give you an example, let's bring that grog back. Yeah, I'm talking nuts. But same thing. You know, it's got those big, nice flat areas on it. So you know, if you want to, you put a watchtower on it. You could literally take and put it all the way up on top, which I kind of like the idea of, or even I think you can go sideways, but yeah, so you could have like the huge stairway in there. Because of how tall it is, you know, I did obviously do a little bit of playing around on seeing, you know, how much taller it is than the taller ones. So, you know, those don't quite line up. But I'm like, whatever, this is flipping huge. Like Dread sits on top, Knob sit there. Where did the grots go? Little guy. Like, it's so stupid. I was like, I'm using this for Kill Team. Holy cow. Like, this is going to be amazing. And this one was a little bit trickier, but it's still one of the simpler ones that I did overall. And the reason why this one was trickier is because this is the first one that actually gave me options. There were multiple doors on these small panels that I could use, and so I used this one. I actually saved one of the extra doors for something else, for one of the, to use as like a gate on like the barn or something like that. But one thing that I thought was pretty neat was it actually gave an option for this big old window space. So we actually took and glued one of the greebles on the inside to make it look like a lattice window, and then barred it up with some of the extra bars they had on there. So that's pretty cool. Again, you know, you can see some of the same kind of greebles over and over again. You know, the dags and stuff, and sometimes it gives you on more 3D, sometimes it doesn't. But this one, like I said, was the first one that didn't have gray boards, but like, I don't care. This thing's huge. Until I got to the next one. The next one was the first one that actually gave me a headache. And it wasn't so much that it wasn't easy to put together. It was just that it was the first one that I had lots of complications with. So some of the instructions were a little mixed up. Some of the pieces might have been missing. I actually emailed the company, so they haven't responded to me by the time I've done this one, but it's one of those things that, like I said, I'm kind of doing this real time. So it's only been a few days. It's been the weekend. So I don't imagine this random company that does really awesome stuff like this to, not that a random company, I'm saying they're not going to take all of a sudden come in on the weekends just to answer me, a random guy's emails. So we'll see how that goes. But so we have a lookout tower. We got the watchtower. But we just got one now called an ork tower. And just to give an example, okay? Watchtower. 1 MDF sheet. This is what we started with. Okay. Then we got the lookout tower. Okay. Which was this one, which was 3 sheets. Okay. Right. Okay. It's getting bigger. Okay. Now we come into what's just called the ork tower. And the only way I could describe this is a cross between the Lost Boys and Tarzan's crashed airplane home, but orcs. And this one drove me bonkers. But as you can see, this thing is huge. It was hard. It was real hard. But it had really neat Easter eggs. So like this crashed ship, when I started putting it together, pain in the neck. Lots of these things don't actually have tabs. These wings were the first things that just actually hung onto it. Gray board Greebles. So, yeah, making a nice glass. This was actually the first one that had a unique gray board. So that made it a lot more fun. And then because it also had so many different Easter egg Greebles and things like that as well, I could actually save some of the extras. So it's going to be funner that way. But when I piece this together, I noticed like little things like this. Pretty sure that's supposed to be an Ultramarine logo. So we got, a downed Ultramarine. We have a downed Ultramarine spaceship. And I think it looks savage. Nice little walkway. I love the little dangling chains. I think they're kind of ridiculous because, obviously with wood chains, they're not as rounded as they could be, but it's still fun. But here's where the downside was. So when I got to the end of it, there's only 2 ladders, and there's 3 places that ladders are supposed to go. And I looked in the pictures. I went online. I looked at everything, all the pictures they have of their details and everything like that, just to kind of see, And there's supposed to be a ladder down here, so you can get to the top. There's supposed to be a ladder here, so you can get up to the top of the tower. And then the actual tower itself, which this is my favorite Easter egg. People are like, what, you mean there's a little flag up top? No. Is that a Captain America shield that's been attacked by an orc or a Wolverine? That's good Easter egg. I like that. So, but anyways, so it's a little bit off. This first one I really had to use super glue, like in these bonds, because it was just a little bit not quite right, especially with getting these pieces there. There was no instructions on how to do the ladder, or the rope bridge. At a certain point it stopped, so like all of these little pylon style things on the side, there was no instructions for there. Up here was the first time I had to actually cut a piece because this piece had another piece attached to it, and so this actually isn't supposed to be there. This is supposed to go flush over there, but this piece was actually cut, so there might have been some holes there as well. I'm not sure. This one gave me a headache. I hope they send me another ladder, because that would be awesome. If not, like, you know, this is scaffolding, and you can climb that, I don't care. But this is still one of the sickest things I've ever done. When I built it, the kiddo got up the next morning and she's like, "Dad, that's sick. That's so sick." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, that looks like a real plane crash." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, it's nuts. But again, you know, not as big of playing areas for stuff like ridiculous things like, you know, the dread and stuff. But, you know, using it for Kill Team, lots of areas for, you know, the knobs fit, no problem. The boys, they've been on their 32 mils. They're on 25s. I ain't one of them. I'm not one of the old school players. I just got into this in the last couple of years. So everybody's on 32s. They need to be on 32s. You know, you can easily sit in all the different places, which just right there, it shows you how big this is with how far away those guys are. You know, sneaky little places for, you know, grots to get up into it. You know, they can get hiding in there and whatnot. Little shelves even on the walls, so that if you want to, you can climb there and hide. I don't know how well my buddies are gonna let that slide, but especially these little grots, you know, especially with me playing a grot leader. Although I do have Metaspore on a 32 mil base, because I was like, when I first got into this, and I was reading all the forums, and people are like, "That's cheesy. Why grots?" I'll explain all that story later. I'll give you a backstory. That'll probably be my next video after this. So I'll finally tell you about where the idea for Metaspore came. But yeah, other than that, I just kind of wasn't even paying attention, and they sat perfectly still where they were still. So I mean, that shows it's good quality. It is good. I just think somebody really goofs with this one. So I feel like this is either a really new product and they just haven't fine-tuned this one yet, or somebody super dropped the ball. Either way though, it is sick. Like, I love it. Oh, and the other thing too was that so this one was 6 and a gray board, so technically 7 if you want to count it, because it was the biggest gray board I've gotten out of all of them. But so these are the last of the 6 ones. And if we take that fortress though, what's nice is it is the right height that we could bring it up and over with the planes and stuff. So I do like that. Let me see what I can do. I'll set up something. We can kind of see how it all looks before we come back to all this. Let's have a gander. All right. So I don't have a dedicated kill team space yet, and I didn't want to like tape out a board, so I just kind of threw this down. Did some quick measuring to make sure everything stayed inside the limitations. But so far, this is everything together. You can sneak little guys in there. The little area I was talking about, where you can kind of make the gantries and walkways. Oh man. Just checking in on all the boys, huh? Having a good old time after a good old crumpin'. Yeah. We actually just got a game in, 2 games actually. Good friend got the Kill Zones book, so we kind of tinkered around with some of that, and we took on some Thousand Suns, and we managed to pull out some wins. So yeah, just wanted to kind of show that all set up that way. It's pretty nuts. So alright, so now that we looked at that, let's look at the last 2 projects. So I told you guys I was going from smallest to biggest, and I bought one of everything. So my next big one, I told you those guys were 6, is a 7 sheet. Also says 0 gray boards. So I'm glad that I've been saving gray boards just in case I want the extra greebles. But instead of the Mech Shop, It's the Mech Garage, which that is insane. I'm guesstimating that because it's about 7 boards, that when it's done, it's basically going to be about the size of the fortress, but it's going to be shaped like the shop. So I feel like it's gonna, in essence, if we were to take like the barracks and the shop together, my guesstimation is it's probably going to be about this big, if not bigger. Which, when you look at these, that's savage to think about. And the nutso, the part that just blows my mind, is that's not even the big one. The big one is the set, and that is actually the Orc Stronghold. And 11. This thing is 11 sheets. I hope this one's easy. I feel like it's going to be hard because it's going to be a lot, but it's basically 2 ruined walls, 2 straight walls, a gate, 2 45s and a 90, or 2 90s and a 45, and then a few little scatters. But if this thing is 11 and the next one is 7, that's 18 sheets compared to what I've done before, which is like 22 sheets that I just showed you worth of MDF terrain. So I'm about halfway through them with 2 left, a little over half, 2/3 done. With an original 9, I have 2 left. So yeah, a little over 2/3 done, like 3/5 done. But that's still an insane amount. And like you've seen with how big that is, even kind of trying to shape it down to that kill team size, that's a lot of terrain. I definitely outdid myself, but worth it. 100% worth it. I just can't. I'll keep coming back to it. This alone was my selling point. This little grog. As a person who played entirely too many pirate games as a kid, I love this. So I just want to take a minute, stop and say hi to you guys, because like I said, it had been a day or two. So you take care of yourselves out there. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Look forward for the crazy, because there's a lot of crazy coming through. We got looters we're building. We got burners we're building. We're finishing up some more boys. We're just enjoying having the terrain. Sorry that I went on a ramble after I was trying to say goodbye, because I just remembered I just got popped up. A little alert just came through to remind me. I'm actually working with a close friend here soon. We're going to potentially be looking at seeing if we can film some battle reports. We've been meeting up, following regulations still for pandemics and stuff like that. But we both got really excited by it and seeing what we can do. And we finally got it set up for potentially some overhead. So we'll see how that goes. Can't make any promises on it, but it's definitely on the menu. If it turns out all right, I'm going to share it. We're going to have a blast. Learn some crazy strategies, because now we got basically a little bit of every squad put together. You know, we got the knobs built, we got some regular boys built, we got some rocket boys built, we got some commandos built, we're building some looters, we're building some burners. Basically all that's going to be left is some flash kits. And I don't know if I want to do that, honestly, because I might have to kit bash them. I love the pirate theme. I don't know if I really want to pay $50 for 5 dudes that look like a bad, over-the-top Jack Sparrow imitation. I understand that the Flash Kits have been around longer than Jack Sparrow. Okay, I get it. Okay, but that's a lot of money for somebody that don't even probably want to play more than one or two of them anyways, unless they go full Flash Kit team, and then I gotta get animal runs, and that's, again, I don't care enough. Hopefully I'll care enough later. Who knows? So maybe one of you guys out there, you love me? You want to send me some Flash Kits? I don't care. I'm just kidding. It'll probably be on the menu someday, but not really coming soon. So once again, all that being said, I do thank you for stopping by for more misadventures of Mr. Fish. Have a wonderful night.